Yo, what's up? Thank you for tuning in today. Thanks to Humans for bringing us in. Thanks to you for supporting the show. Be sure to check us out at thatsoberguy.com for past episodes, resources. You can also connect with us on Instagram at RealThatSoberGuy and on Twitter at Shane Raymer. If you're listening to this via iTunes, Spotify, or any of the other hundreds of podcast platforms, I was browsing around the other day and I noticed, damn, there is a shitload of podcast platforms, which is a pretty amazing thing. So you got tons of options out there. But if you want to watch the show, instead of just listening to the show, you got both options now. You can see some video of my ugly ass mug all up in your nice, beautiful mug on some video action. So you can go to youtube.com/thatsoberguypodcast. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. I didn't do a very good job of building the YouTube platform when I started Sober Guy, so I think I'm a little behind the curve on that. But better late than pregnant, right? So we're going to keep moving forward and put some video out. I'm having some fun doing that. And hopefully y'all are enjoying that too. Y'all are enjoying that. I ain't hating on anybody that says y'all, by the way, but y'all, hoo-hoo. I'm from Cali, son. I'm not from Texas. Although I'd like to go to Texas. I hear Texas is an amazing place. I stopped on a runway in Dallas. That is the closest. Wait, that didn't make sense. I stopped on a runway. I stopped in Dallas in a terminal, and then we took off on the runway. That would make sense, right? You dumb fuck. Check us out on YouTube. Love it if you did that. You can also check out the new TSG merch store. We have men's shirts. We have shirts for the ladies. What's up, ladies? Who you calling hoe? I ain't no hoe. Oops. Okay, I'm not even going to say it. You ever seen Boys in the Hood? One of my favorite parts. Funny. Absolutely amazing movie. Yeah, some comedy parts, but some real life shit that was going on in the 90s there too, man. Damn, I love how they laid it out. But just reminded me of a scene in that when Ice Cube is walking through. Well, he ain't Ice Cube in the movie, but what's his name again in the movie? I totally forgot. Totally drawing a blank right now. I'm thinking of Menace to Society, and at the same time, I'm drawing Boys in the Hood in there. Well, he was Doughboy, right? Yeah, he was Doughboy. That's what it was. I know as a kid. Anyways, he's walking through the barbecue line. They're having a cookout. They're doing the cookout, and one of the females said something, and he said, oops, I'm sorry, ho. And she said, who you calling ho? I ain't no ho. And he said, I'm sorry, bitch. And I went, oh, damn, that was rude. What a dick. You can't speak to the ladies like that. You can't speak to the hoes like that. Oh, man, where am I going with this? Anyways, we got That Sober Guy. Shirts, coffee mugs, got some hoodies on there. Help support us. Support your recovery. Rock your Sober Guy gear. Represent. You can get your TSG merch today at thatsoberguy.com. You can go there and click on the store tab, and it'll take you over there, and you can check it out. And we love your support. We thank you guys. Thank you for listening to the show. Thank you for talking about recovery. Thank you for having an open community that speaks openly, that supports each other, all that good stuff. I don't talk about it often enough, probably too. We also have a Facebook group. It's a private Facebook group, but you can anyone can join. Of course, we would like it if you're in recovery or connected to it, even codependency, that kind of stuff. But that's what it's there for, is to connect and support each other. So if you go to Facebook, you can just type in Sober Guy or That Sober Guy, and you should be able to find the group on there. I think there's over 600 people in there. So there's a good little group of people. It's pretty active from my understanding. My mom, Darcy, thank you to her, and of course the Jess, my lovely wife. They're both involved in in helping out with that, with the private Facebook group, as well as Cormac all the way out in Ireland. I know he's posting some stuff in there every now and again, so I appreciate that, Cormac. And then of course Buddy C is in there networking a little bit with other podcasts, the Share podcast. Buddy just launched a new podcast himself through the Share platform. It's a DAO podcast, and I think he has a weekly meeting every Thursday, early morning, being that he's on the East Coast, so it's a little different timing for me, so I haven't got to jump into one of those yet. But you can check any of those out in the private Sober Guy, Sober Girl Facebook group, so be sure to go over there and check that out. All right, how to reach out for help. I thought that this would be an interesting topic to briefly touch on today, and talk a little bit about an experience I've had in the last couple of days. One of my good homeboys who I've known for a long time, and I'm going to, of course, keep his anonymity, respect that. And I'm not going to obviously say who it is, but just a good friend of mine who I got mad love for. And, we partied like some straight party boys back in the day. And, he hit me up recently and he said, "Hey bro, let's, I hadn't talked to him in a while either, here and there, we'd run into each other, but, that when I got sober, a lot of relationships changed. And I know those of you who are in sobriety and who are working a recovery program, who have been in it for a minute, understand that, that you gotta step away from certain situations and be very aware of the environments and the situations that you're putting yourself in. And so that was something that I had to do very early on when I got home from rehab, in order to put a stake in the ground and say, I'm not going back to that shit. And I don't care what I have to do that. Now, it didn't mean that I intentionally wanted to, it looks like I got a turtleneck on right now, doesn't it? I'm just all zipped up right now because it's cold, but oh man, yeah, turtleneck. I'm going to have to get a dickie like Cousin Eddie in Christmas Vacation. That'd be legit right there. He's got the white V-neck with the black dickie underneath. Oh man, that's just superb. I love that. Anyways, what the fuck was I talking about? It wasn't my intention to get, to alienate my friends, or some of them were good friends. Some of them were acquaintances. Some of them were my party homies. Like, there's all different groups of people and places that we'd go, and, different groups, I guess. And in order for me to sustain being able to stay sober, I had to get my ass out of a lot of those situations and being around a lot of those people. The easy thing to do also is to say, I can't hang around those people because they make me do this, or they, I always make bad decisions when I'm around them. Well, at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter what they do. I can't control them. I'm not in charge of what they do, of how they act, of anything going on in other people's world. I'm in charge of me. I have to take personal responsibility for me. I can't blame anybody else. I can't blame any other thing. I can't blame drugs. I can't blame booze. I can't blame food. Whatever it is that those addictive tendencies come out that keep us down and keep us in that victim state of mind, I can't blame any of those things or people. I have to take personal responsibility and stand up and put a stake in the ground and say, like, I'm not doing that shit anymore, and this is a me problem. And that's a very, very tough thing to do, especially when you're considering reaching out for help. It's really, really hard to do that. And so in the beginning, it was tough to distance myself from people, but I had to do it. I had to do it to get a little time under my belt, and to kind of get my bearings and get a foundation set, and that's been able to change. And evolve and things change as time goes on, and you can establish some of those relationships later on down the road, and you hope that some of those homies are in a better place, or they're not doing some of the same things that they were doing, that you hope for the positive. That's all I'm saying. I'm not judging anybody or what they do or what they don't do or what they did or anything like that. I'm just saying you hope that you grow, and you hope your homies grow too. That's not always the case sometimes, unfortunately, but you always hope for the best. I know I did. And, so this person reached out to me, who I've always had mad love for. But we kind of went our separate ways at that time. When I started making some changes, and, he said, Hey, let's have some coffee, man. And so I got to the coffee spot, and I actually texted him. I said, what do you want, man? Let me order. 'Cause I got there a couple minutes before he did. He said, I want a mocha. I said, you're a pussy. That's the great thing about those relationships, man. It's, even though I haven't talked, we haven't talked in a while. It's just like, it was, that bond is there no matter what, and so we can kind of razz each other and talk a little shit and have some fun. And, I love that part about a lot of my homies that I've still been able to hold and build and grow relationships with. Let me take a quick coffee sip here. So we get to the coffee shop, and we sit down, and we rap a little bit and kind of catch up. What you been up to? How's work going? How's the family life? That kind of stuff, and just kind of general catching up. And I had a feeling that that he may reach out, and he did. And he basically just said, like, hey, look, like, I'm kind of tired of living the way that I've been living. It's been causing a lot of turmoil, and it's not good, and I'm over it. And I don't know what to do or really how to do it, but I was hoping you might have some suggestions maybe. And man, it was pretty cool to hear that. It was pretty cool. And at the same time, like I told him, I said, man, like, I admire you, setting this up and asking for help, because a lot of dudes are scared to ask for help. I know I was fucking terrified to ask for help. I don't want to be a pussy. I don't want to, I got this shit. I can do this on my own, son. I got this. That's the thoughts. Like, I'm a man. I'm a grown little man, as Kevin Hart said. I'm a man. Like, I can do this. I can do anything. I'm tough. No. For me, that ain't how it works. It didn't work like that. I was not tough. I was weak. I was a little boy stuck in a grown man's body. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is where I was at. But my mind was running circles, telling me things that weren't true. And I had no foundation set to be able to counter those thoughts. And it was a tough thing. And so for me to even nut up enough and gain the courage to reach out for help was a huge step. And so that's what I wanted to share with him, was like, hey, bro. And I say this a lot, Jess and I do newcomers at CR on Monday nights in Vacaville at the Father's House. If anyone's in the area, come check us out. Come check out CR. The program is amazing and a lot of good people, but that's one of the things that I also always make sure to say is, like, the fact that you just showed up here today, the fact that you're reaching out for some help is a huge step. It's a huge thing, because it's not easy. And most people don't do it, not because they're bad people or because they're stupid or because, they're unwilling or, it's not because of any of the negative stuff. It's just out of fear a lot of the time, fear and addiction. Fear is always at the bottom line of everything when I look back on stuff, and still till this day. when I look forward and face stuff head on. There's always, if there's anything that's going on, it's usually some anxiety, some uncertainty, and some fear. Like that's a huge thing. And fear will just hold your ass down underwater till you can't breathe no more, and you're willing to do anything it takes, wailing and flailing and jumping and doing whatever it takes to grab a breath of that love, to come up and let me breathe again, because I'm trapped in this fear, and that is no way to live. It's not a fun way to exist. I don't even call it living. I just call it existing. So I'm always aware of recognizing that when people reach out. And so that was one of the first things I wanted to tell my boy was like, man, I'm proud of you, bro. And then he told me, don't be a bitch. Because I think I said, I don't want to get all sappy on you, man. And he said, well, then don't. And we were just kind of playing around and messing. But for real, I did have to come out and get serious for a minute and say, like, dude, like, I'm proud of you, man. Like, we don't hear that, especially as men a lot sometimes. We don't hear, like, another grown man. It's weird. And, at least it was for me in the beginning, man. I went, ooh, that feels weird, man. You're proud of me? What do you mean, man? Like, I'm married, right? To a woman. Just playing, like, but, man, it's a good thing to support, to build up, to to encourage, and we need that. And so from there, that's kind of where it went. Some of the resources, well, here's some of the things that I've done that have helped me. Here's some of the resources that have helped others that I know. You got AA, you have NA, you have CR, you got Refuge. I know I feel like a broken record sometimes saying the same shit, but I mean, these are some of the foundational programs. You have, excuse me, I just burped right in the microphone. Might as well take a drink, right? Hold on. I guess I might as well give a little love to Anchored Recovery Center, anchoredrc.com. Met these guys at the Foundations Conference out in San Diego. Was it last year or the year before? I want to say it was the year before that we met them out there. And speaking of foundations too, if you or a loved one is struggling and you need some help, you need some questions answered, I should have done this earlier, but we'll do it now. Foundations is a great company for real. We've worked with them for a long time. I actually have a meeting coming up with Carly here in the next couple of days, which I'm stoked to talk about 2019 and what's going to be going on. And we've had a great relationship with those guys. They have treatment centers, inpatient and outpatient all over the country. So no matter where you're at, they also have a confidential and private line where you can ask some questions. And you can do that. Let me give you the phone number. It's 877-714-1318. And they can help you. They can help you or a loved one. And if anything, if you just have some questions about what to do, where to go, who to contact, or you just don't know, you just need to talk about recovery and figure some things out, feel free to reach out to those guys. Let me give you that number one more time. It's 877-714-1318. So back to the programs. Okay, you have all different types of programs. There's, do a search. Go on Bing. I recommend Bing. I don't be using that Google shit anymore. Go on to Bing and search, addiction recovery meetings in whatever city you're in. And I guarantee you a list of them will pop up there. Okay. You'll be able to find something. And that's the first thing. Like I was telling my homie, like, I could sit all day and talk about how I want to get sober and how I need to get sober. And this is fucking up my life here and messing it up there. And all these things are happening, but it's up to me to actually do the work. It's up to me to actually do the work. Now I did some of the work. The first step was admitting I have a problem and then reaching out for help. So maybe that's 2 steps, or 2 things. Like, I'm seeing some things that are not going right here and I need some help. And then boom, now I'm going to reach out for that help. I'm going to talk to somebody I trust, that's been there, that's been through some things, and if you don't have anybody like that, then maybe your first step is to find a meeting in your area so you can find somebody that you can reach out to. That's where this thing's at. And a lot of this, and that's where for me the pride and the ego started coming in. Man, you don't need help. Quit being a bitch. You don't need help with anything. You got this. And so all that stuff starts creeping in. I go, yeah, you know what? You're right. You're right, man. I'm a G. I don't need any help from anybody. I don't need anything. I got this. And so that prohibited me from going to any meeting, from doing, and that doesn't work. I had to show up. I had to show up and go to some group therapy, whatever you want to call it. That is group therapy. It's community. It's other people building you up. And the first step in that is reaching out, right? And then it's actually showing up. So as I kind of laid some of these out for him and said, hey, we do CR Monday nights. You got the Alano Club. You have these options. And that's that old saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. Classic. If you haven't heard that, I'd be absolutely shocked. I think my dad used to say it to me. Yeah, son, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. You go, yeah, whatever, Dad. Fuck you. That's what I'm thinking, at least. I don't know if I ever. Well, I think I did say that, but I didn't say it at the time. I was just thinking, yeah, whatever, Dad. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. Whatever, Mom. Whatever, teacher. Whatever, authority. Fuck authority. I don't need any of that. It's that attitude, right? F the world. Like I'm saying F like it matters at this point. I've already dropped numerous F-bombs, and I know I've been talking about, I'm going to try to stop saying the F-bombs. Well, I'm trying, but I suck. But you got to show up, okay? So back to, our little conversation, about this. So I'm laying out some of these resources, and here's some of the things that helped me. Here's some of the options for you. There's meetings on this day, that day. And if you go, for anyone out there listening who does the search and you look for some of these programs in your area, they have schedules. And the other thing, you got to find a program that works for you. I don't sit on here and recommend you only go to AA or CR is the only way to go. Like, that's what works for me. That might not work for you. Maybe it works for you. Great. I don't know. But you have to make that decision. And the only way that you're going to be able to find some sort of program, some sort of thing together is by stepping out and showing up and working a program and trying some new ones out. Try a couple meetings out. One of the worst things I did is I walked the first meeting. Seth took me to my very first meeting. It was actually right here. It's funny, man. God put us in a place right now. We moved into this house last year, and we're surrounded by recovery. Everybody's in recovery around us, we're finding out. There's 2 churches back to back right on each corner, and there's NA meetings and there's AA meetings there. And so I've been placed in this area, where, and it's a great little spot downtown, but there's a lot of homeless people that go up and down the street down here because it's in downtown Vacaville, which is a great little spot. And at the same time, there is a lot of people in recovery too. And it's funny how God places you right where you need to be. And that got me thinking, though, in the first meeting that I went to was right here by my house at the church, right on the block, on the corner right here on the block behind us. And Seth took me to that meeting, and one of the worst things that I did, and it wasn't because I was trying to be a dick, or I just didn't know. I wasn't ready. Let's put it that way. I was not ready. One of the worst things I did is I walked in there, and immediately I started taking fools' inventories. And that's some recovery language, taking inventory. At the time, I was just judging fools. I was just talking shit. That fool, oh man, he's jacked up. Oh man, oh man, I hate to be her. Glad I ain't her husband. I'm immediately separating myself from those people. And why am I doing that? Because it makes me feel better about myself. Makes me it enables me to lessen the impact or the lifestyle that I'm living. It makes it less hard on myself. And so what happened was I went to the meeting and I said, fuck, I ain't like these people. I don't need this shit. I'm out of here. Gone. And I didn't go back. I didn't go back. And so instead of, and I'm just trying to save some folks some time out there who are hearing this, like, don't do that. Don't do what I did. Go into that meeting with an open mind and an open heart and say, hey, look, I don't know what to expect because it's scary, right? Going to your first meeting, especially in public, in maybe it's in your community. I think it was Buddy who said he used to drive 30 miles to go out to a different meeting because he didn't want to be seen in his community. So if that makes you feel better, do some shit like that. As long as you're getting to a meeting, that's what matters, because it is scary. I get it, but at the same time, going into that and keeping an open mind, an open heart, and not judging, not taking inventories, knowing that there's a reason that you're there is huge. And if I would have done that out of the gate, I might have stayed around a little bit to open my mind up a little more. And I could have 6 or 7 years, in recovery right now and save myself a couple of years, because I think after that very, very first meeting Seth took me to, I went out, again for another year or two and continued the drinking and the drug using and all that. And that's when it got, extremely bad. But those resources are there, and it's up to us to find them and to do the work. So, where am I going with this? Truth is, I don't really know. So I'm going to wrap it up right now. Reaching out for help. Back to our main topic. It's a scary thing. It's one of the first steps, and it's a huge weight. And let me say like this, it's a huge weight off your shoulders. I know from experience, because that moment when I sat down and I told Jess, I told my wife, hey, I love you. Drank the rest of my vodka. I don't think it even hit me yet. And I didn't care. I don't even remember getting intoxicated, because I was so scared and nervous and just ready to admit, desperate. But I said those 3 words, I need help. And it was literally like the weight of the world just shifted off of me and just was lifted up. And it was like, oh, damn, that's what that feels like surrender. Surrender. I don't have to do this anymore. I can't do this. I cannot continue to wear this energy, this burden, this lifestyle that I'm living. I can't do it anymore. I'm not designed to carry this shit. There has to be something higher to help me. And so once I did that, it was scary as shit, I got to say, because you don't know what's coming next. And then there's that full commitment aspect. I don't like to fail. What if I fail? What if it doesn't work? What if I hate it? What if being sober sucks and it's boring as shit? Those questions are normal. At least they were for me. But here's how this conversation, kind of wrapped up with me and my homies was, the resources, we kind of laid some of those out. And then, we had a good time. We got to talk a little shit a little bit more and have some fun. And then at the end, the ball is in my homeboy's court at this point. And the ball is in your court if you're out there listening and you're early on in this and you're considering reaching out for help, or you're right there. And let me point this out too. This is just coming to mind right now. So my boy that reached out that we're talking about right now, okay, he doesn't even know that by him reaching out for help, this is how this works in recovery. This is how service works. This is how the domino effect works. By him reaching out, he was able to create conversation, not just between me and him, but between myself now and a microphone, because we have a platform here that talks about recovery that may potentially go out, that someone else will hear and help them muster up some balls or some vagina to reach out for help. That's how this shit works. And that's what's so amazing about it, is when we're open and we're talking about this stuff and we are doing the next right thing, amazing stuff can happen. And so that's kind of where the conversation ended was, look, don't worry about the future. Don't set expectations, restoring relationships, making amends for past stuff that you've done, feeling guilty, feeling shame. All that stuff will come when you work a program. The first step is admitting it and then asking for some help. and then getting out to a meeting, getting out to a program, checking into rehab, whatever the severity is of your situation. And, I don't know why I feel like I should probably add this right now too. I feel like I've advised a little bit on this podcast. I'm not advising anyone on what to do. I'm really just trying to share what worked for me and what has worked for some others that I've been around. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a professional therapist or anything like that. I'm just a dude who loved to party and do drugs and drink and escape reality. And, I've seen some things and been through some shit, and I'm trying to share about it. So I just want to make that clear the podcaster clearly stated that that's not what I'm trying to do here. Okay. And at that, I'm trying to have a little fun with this. We got to find comedy. We got to find comedy in the seriousness of life, or life is fucking boring. And it's too serious. Had a conversation with Seth, as a matter of fact, last night. And I hope he doesn't mind me saying this, but we kind of talked about we've just been taking shit too serious lately. It's not that serious. It's not. Because one day we're going to die. Is it really worth it to walk around pissed off and serious and beating ourselves up and not having fun? And it's not. Life is short. So we got to do the work. You got to show up. You got to do the work that it takes to live a healthy, positive PMA, positive mental attitude, love it, lifestyle. Okay. I love you guys. I hope something my rambling ass said today might help somebody else out there. That's what this is about, serving others. To my homeboy, if we met this week, I love you. If you happen to listen to this, stoked. Anybody else out there who's looking for some help, there's plenty of resources at thatsoberguy.com. Like I said, you can also just look up in your area. Where is there a meeting? What is in my area that can help, or reach out to somebody who you know and who you trust. And if you need help with any of that stuff too, there is plenty of resources around you. Once you step out, I guess, what am I trying to say here? Once you get into community, you're going to find, by doing the next right thing, that doors will start to open. You will start to meet people. You will start to realize things. There will be things that open up once you do that and stepping out. And that is one of the hardest parts, but I'm here to tell anybody, if I can do this shit, so can you. Trust me. Just do it. Say, fuck it. I'm all in. I don't care what anybody thinks. I don't care what anybody says. I'm tired. I'm desperate, and I need some help, and I'm going to do this. I'm going to change. I know I can. I love you guys. You can connect with us on Instagram at @RealThatSoberGuy and at Shane Raymer on Twitter. I think that's about it today. So, much love, peace, respect. Keep your blood clean.